let's be a bit more specific. What's a slide 2? Good. Here's what we're trying to forecast. Obvious. Wetland strength and direction. It's always, given the speed we fly at in this country, it's always going to be the first thing we're looking at. Next question was a specific question. As we've said, air mass quality, stability. This is more listing it in terms of net terms now. Looking at this, what are we actually looking for from the forecast that we're looking? So as I said, inversions. What height is it at? What height are they at? And there may well be more than one. And how big are they? You know, are they small inversions that are just going to disappear mid-morning? Are they super strong inversions that there's no way you're going to get through? So it's height and magnitude. General stability to get a feel for thermal strength. What time of year is it? Where are we going to be flying? How dry is the ground? How cold is the ground? Blah 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 blah. Thermal strength. Pretty crucial one. Wind gradient. Kind of part of the whole story. Because more often than not, wind gradient is caused by some inversion capping the flow that's happening underneath the inversion. We need to know, or we would like to know about the clouds. Questions like, will we have cumulus or will we not? What's the height of cloud base? What are the clouds going to do when they start to develop? Can you read any of that? I just realised it's scratchy. Is it going to spread out or is it going to overdevelop? That terms everybody understands what the meaning or difference between them is.
It's not mine.
I do some chaps do that, yeah. End up going home. Right, somebody tell us then, what is definition, not definitions, but descriptions of spread out and overdevelopment?
So overdevelopment is where cumulus grow too big, basically, can grow into something very big, very large, possibly CVs. So overdevelopment, vertical wise.
Bigger than what we would want to deal with.
Yeah.
Or let's say bigger, you might get a shower out it.
Well, shadowing of the ground, yeah, like things that is just not good for paragliding. And
I mean, showers you can still fly around. That's not a total stopper, you know.
Yeah, but not something.
But it becomes an issue then.
Yeah. And spread out is when you've got a relatively strong inversion capping the development, overdevelopment, but you still got quite unstable lower down. So the thermals are still pumping and pumping on the up, and all the cumulus just kind of spread out into one big outer cumulus layer, just making shadows and killing the thermals. Often, yeah, ending the day, or just maybe stopping it for a few hours.
Well, sure.
Might restart, might not.
It really develops and then disperses and develops and disperses because the ground is then chilled by the shadow.
Yeah, but sometimes it can just develop and then stay like that because you still get a bit of things feeding from the ground. So depends on the day, really.
Yeah, I mean, some days it will. I think, Alistair's certainly right. I've seen that on lots of days where you get beautiful blue morning when you're driving to the hill, first cumulus are starting to form and you're getting there, walking up the hill, and you think, this is a cracker. By the time you get going, they're building into biggest cumulus and starting to go a bit flat, and sometime after you've climbed out and gone, you realise that you're looking at total shadow ahead of you. And exactly as Shamik said, all that's happened is it develops up to the inversion, then it just spreads horizontally. And it can be incredibly thin. I've got a photo taken from the hill at Fairley of a cloud over Arran, and it's a single cumulus developing of the Goat Fell group, which is about half a kilometre in diameter. It goes up about 500 feet to a solid inversion and then covers pretty much all of the skyline that you can see. It was right over as far as Fairley, way past the south of Arran and way off to the north, all from this single cloud. You know, the cloud thick layer was probably only 10 feet thick or something. But of course it's enough to shade out the sun. But exactly as Alistair said, quite commonly what happens is the whole lot goes grey as the spread out happens, shuts down the convection, and then of course because this layer is so thin, it can disperse really quickly. So within half an hour, the whole sky changes again into blue with good quality cumulus, and the sun starts beating on the ground again, and then the whole thing does it again. And you can sometimes see 3 and maybe 4 cycles of that during an afternoon. So the trick always is, you know, if it is a spread out day, is not to give up. If you see it spreading out, then you've got to go into a super slow down mode, climb or maintain or almost maintain in anything that you can, and basically just try to stay in the air as long as possible, because it sometimes only takes 20 minutes or something to go from grey back to some sun on the ground.
Sometimes it's surprisingly how pretty much an overcast sky can still have enough thermals to stay up. That day of the century that Dave mentioned, you actually took off probably first or second under overcast.
Yeah.
And you went straight to the base.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
And it
doesn't take full sun to give you thermals. Yeah. But it's certainly going to sort of tone down. So you need to judge from whatever thermal strength and size and everything that you were getting. In the bit where it was totally sunny, you've got to imagine that the volume knob's going to be turned down a fair bit and kind of let fly to that. Yeah, okay. I was just enjoying having a drink there, stop right. Okay, let's say, this is quite an important one. Other wind effects. Now, we're all completely tuned in to the fact that met wind is just one of the types of wind that we feel when we're flying. To a degree from 100% where everything you're feeling is met wind, right down to where met wind is only contributing 5% or something of what you're actually feeling to the whole story. So let's say relevant or common. This is a phrase I just made up recently. Scottish Valley breeze. And that's to differentiate from valley breeze, which is a standard Met term that everybody knows what it is. It's what you get in the Alps when the big mountains start causing thermals and they draw the air in, the air rushes up the valley, blah blah blah. Not that, it's not that I'm talking about. This is Scottish Valley breeze, which is the way that the Met wind is affected by our valleys. It's an extremely significant effect Anybody who's ever flown at Moorfoots will know how significant this effect is. Every single day that the wind is forecast, the Met wind is forecast to be northwesterly, and it is northwesterly. When you get to the Moorfoots, it's westerly. And the reason it's westerly is because it's at the far end of a big, huge, long ridge. Time for a diagram.
Slide number 3.
What was that?
Slide number 3.
This one would have been on the flip chart. So there's the. Okay, let's really overdo it then. There's the whole southern upland boundary fault that runs all the way across the country from Dunbar to Girvan. And the Moorfoots is that wee bit of it. So that's whatever it is, 10 or 15k of the Moorfoots. It's part of a boundary line, so there's generally a ridge runs all the way across the country, and when you've got a northwesterly Met wind all the way along this ridge, it meets a ridge, the stable cold air doesn't want to go up the ridge, so it tends to bend a bit. The less stable air, or air that has been warmed up, goes up over the top of it, and the denser, more stable stuff tends to get shoved along the end. So you get an increasing amount of wind flowing generally along the slope. That happens in any ridge. Another example, okay, it's just, I mean, because of the geology, a lot of our valleys do run north-south, north-northeast to southwest. There's a valley that we meet up with a lot, the Moffat Valley, where again, let's just look at an example of a northwesterly Met wind. You would think Bodspec, for instance, which is a massive hill, south side of the Moffat Valley, facing northwesterly, and you'd think if you went there on northwesterly days that it would be northwesterly, but it's not. It's always kind of westerly, because the Met wind is never going to want to go down into the bottom of the valley and up the other side. Whatever Met wind there is basically goes over the top, like 1,000 feet over the top, and whatever valley breeze is down there flows up the valley. It's a combination of all sorts of effects. Something of the alpine valley breeze thing, also the fact that the sea's down here, so you probably get sea breeze blowing up it. So the general rule for long Scottish valleys, if the Met wind is perpendicular to the valley flow, then you need to make a guess. The valley wind will either be that way or that way, and you just need to have a think about what other factors might want to drive it. If the Met wind,
would you get it on the Moorfoots where if it's maybe a little bit northerly, that you actually get north, and not a pure northerly, or north, either northeasterly or northeasterly?
yeah, well, not so much northeasterly, but certainly northerlies. Met wind is much better at the Moorfoots, because it effectively cancels this effect.
Well,
But could it go the other way?
It depends. I mean, that's what I said. But if you get right around to the northeast, then it's pretty much blown along the hill the other way. Like what it does when the sea breeze comes in the afternoon, it all comes in from the northeast there. So some kind of north-northwest or northerly, but a wee hint of northness.
but it's effectively the Met wind being funneled onto the Moorfoots like this. If it's northwesterly,
Yeah,
and going
yeah,
that way into the valley.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can generalise that for. I mean, that's really a single ridge, but it's not that much different. Much more pronounced in valleys where you've got. This is mostly special in the borders, because I keep saying to people, geology-wise, the borders actually is a flat plateau. If you think of it like a flat plateau that's 2,500 feet high, that goes from somewhere around Tinto right down to almost to Kelso. If you think of it like that, first of all, a flat plateau, and then think of that plateau cut by valleys. And these valleys all have got their own flow, doing their own thing. Then it all starts to make a lot more sense rather than thinking of it as individual hills, which we kind of tended to do in our earlier days. You know, we'd go, we're going to go and fly in the borders, it's northwesterly, and we'd go to this northwest facing hill and it would be like southwesterly. And nobody kind of understood what was happening, because we were going on the assumption it's northwesterly, meaning the net wind's northwesterly. But I think we've got a pretty good idea now, which is why I'm going on about it now, that that's not the way it looks. So if you've got valleys and it's at right angles, it could be either way the valley flow. If it's slightly to one side, even like 5 or 10 degrees to one side of perpendicular, as the diagram here, the valley breeze will probably be that way. The Scottish valley breeze, i.e. the met wind diverted by the terrain. So if you're down the bottom of that valley, you will feel northwesterly. If you happened to be at the bottom of that valley on exactly the same day, you would feel a northeasterly, just because of the slightly different angles. So if it's even a few degrees to either side perpendicular, that's what will drive the valley flow. Up until the time when something stronger cancels that. Which most commonly would be, for instance, a sea breeze. If you're somewhere in the east, an easterly sea breeze coming in would palm it the opposite direction. Okay, so that's enough on Scottish valley wind. You read about it in the textbooks, but it really does happen. General adiabatic flow on good thermal days, all the air flows towards the hills. It does happen, you'll see it regularly. Rarely you see it in Scotland, you commonly see it in the Alps, where people are flying both sides of the same hill perfectly happily. I mean, we have seen it in Scotland sometimes. And of course, sea breezes. Where is the sea breeze likely to be and when? So, are there any other questions that folk would be wanting to ask themselves to try and, what pieces of information that they'd be trying to get out of the forecast, or would you say that covers it, or forgotten anything?
If you've got a met wind of 2 or 3 degrees, or 2 or 3 miles an hour, would you concern yourself with the direction of the met wind primarily for a launch site, or would you go to a hill that is going to be facing the sun in the morning? Because if it's a good thermal day, then the met wind will have little or no effect.
Yeah.
Would you dismiss the met wind direction if it's, say, less than 3 miles an hour?
Definitely. I would say up to certainly, yeah, up to about 5 mile an hour met wind on a good thermic day. I would ignore it in terms of choosing where to start.
So low, you're never going to get any rotor or anything anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, not like that.
Well, nothing that's.
You wouldn't even discern it. If you go to a sunny south-facing hill with a met wind of less than 5 mile an hour, on a good day, it will be coming up the hill. You wouldn't, no matter whether it's north, east, south or west, it'll just be coming up the hill. You won't even know, in fact, what the Met wind is until you get above the top of the hill and you have a look where you are.
That's something you just kind of err against doing. It's a subconscious thing that you carry on from when you start. You always fly with a ridge lift, and you kind of have to dismiss that and sort of consciously say, no, I'm not going to try and get a combination of ridge lift and sun.
Yeah, not at that
No,
strength.
you have to then, if you've got a northerly air mass, generally a very light northerly air mass, and it's a lovely sunny day, then you have to look at the south-facing slopes to get a thermic advantage.
Aye, Al. Yeah, that definitely. I mean, that's one of the many reasons why I've fallen in love with the Eildons over the past couple of years. Not least the fact that they're 15 minutes up the road from my house, but it's like a almost totally round hill. I don't even give it a minute's thought as to what side I'm going to be jumping off. I just go up the hill,
Oh, well, that's
and if it's coming up there, I'll jump off that way. But it's got no
that's
relation.
fortunate in that you can, as long as its wind strengths are suitable, you can go to either side of the hill. But
Yeah.
it's with a ridge or a face or something, you actually quite consciously dismiss the Met wind.
Totally. What you're talking about is an absolutely crucial issue. You know, because I mean, for a very light northerly, again, this is something we've seen dozens of times, a very light northerly, you always see folk hanging about the north side of Tinto on light, good quality days. More often than not, by 11 or 12 o'clock, everybody's moved over to the south side and they climb off from the south side. So Tinto is great that you can go off either side, but it gets a bit
When there's
tricky when especially when it's east.
Certainly when it's, on a day where it's northerly and it's sunny on the south side of Tinto, I don't think about it yet. Gone and launched off the south side into no lift in air and hope to catch thermal. That's something that I need to